every human being living in America, I should say, gets due process. It's our Constitution. It is who we are. Because if he thinks that he can deport this homegrown, then he can deport you, and you, and you, and you, and you, and me, and you. He can deport anybody, apparently, he thinks, and he already has deported 2 children, one of which I think had cancer. So, citizens, what you're deporting homegrowns under Arizona law, do you know what that is? That is kidnapping. Yeah. There is a state statute that prevents kidnapping of Arizonans, and that's all I'll say about it. I'll be going back to my fellow AGs on Wednesday when we do our Zoom call together to talk about some of the things that we talked about today. And so, I hope that you know that I'm inspired by you. I am never going to stop working hard for you, and that we are going to get through this together. And you inspired me to tell a story. I had a woman with the Scott Keys relationship. So I haven't told this story publicly ever before, but my mom passed away about a year ago, and I've been doing more genealogy research and discovered recently that my 7th great-grandfather was a man named John Bartram, who was also one of our founding fathers. Turns out he was one of Benjamin Franklin's best friends. And so I actually visited his house in Philadelphia. He was named by King George as America's first botanist, and then became very, very unhappy with the king, along with all of our other founding fathers. And so in November, right after the election, the Democratic Attorney General met in Philadelphia to plan for this, for where we are today. We had actually been planning for much longer than that. We had obviously hoped for the best with Kamala Harris, and we're very worried after having seen Project 2025 and read it. We took it apart and we read it for a year and started planning. Then we met in Philadelphia right after the election in November. And I went to his house, which is outside of Philadelphia in a place called Bartram's Gardens. He had created this garden, and it turns out that when our founding fathers were creating our Constitution, if you recall, they were at loggerheads, and they couldn't come together. The southern states and the northern states could not agree on a form of government and a structure. And they were fighting, and they were fighting, and they were fighting, and my 7th great-grandfather invited them all up to his gardens, where they had a few restful, peaceful days together. And my 7th great-grandfather showed them that in these gardens, sometimes the tall pines stand and take and shelter the more delicate flowers. And together they live and they prosper and they flourish, but they only do so together. The tall pines and the delicate flowers and the other flora and fauna. And after that stay that they had at John Bartram's Gardens, they went back to the convention and they inked our Constitution. And so I hope that that is what we can all do together as Americans, as we fight our way through what feels today like a nightmare, like an intractable fight. And it is a fight. There's no doubt about that. It is a fight for our country and for our future and for our children's future. But we can get through this, and we can do it if we do it together, protecting one another. So thank you all for being here.